Settlements in peril. The price for human negligence. Gamashi is just a little fraction of the many slums that have raised its ugly head in Accra and other cities in Ghana. In Accra, places like Sodom and Gomorrah, parts of Labadi, Osu, Asham and Newtown, Fadama and Nima are classical examples of areas where slums have taken over vast lands. The development of slums and the problems associated with them are huge that every nation makes it a priority to prevent. On arrival in Accra, the first point of call is this no man's land, which is a comfort for the disadvantaged in Accra. Soon, and as is common with slums in some parts of the world, the place became a hideout for armed robbers, prostitutes, drug pushers, and all kinds of criminals, hence the name Sodom and Gomorrah. The people sleep, eat, and relieve themselves in the open, making it unfit for human habitation. In view of the disorderly nature of life in the area, successive governments have tried to give the Kole Lagoon, a nearby water body and its surroundings, some facelift. But the Accra Metropolitan Assembly is so far struggling to evacuate about 30,000 people here and demolish what has now become Accra's most popular and populous acclaimed slum zone. Several attempts have been made, but the question of where to relocate the residents while maintaining their proximity to their places of work has been the challenge of many past and present governments.
Once they get used to their place, they don't want to move again because of certain factors. Factors of getting accommodation in town, factors of transportation to where the house will be. And so the place has become permanent slum.
It is not my goal to mark a building and then we let it stand without taking action. That is an institution that does not bite. AMA will bite.
The conclusion is clear. Sodom and Gomorrah must go.
What to do with people that come to town? Mayor's job very often is perceived to be to keep people out of town instead of making the space to receive them. An eviction, for example, we don't think is the way to go. The way to go is to give people that live in these poor areas housing for the poor.
That notion has been the same notion across most developing countries since the 60s. There was always this, go back to your village, as if urbanization can be reversed. Fortunately, we have to come to terms with the fact that urbanization is irreversible.
This is an issue that has to be addressed. My advice would be we cannot wait any further. We have to start looking at this issue today.
When in 1998, the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, and her husband visited Ghana, the then authorities tried hard not to make Nima, another slum community, visible to the Queen and her entourage by trying to cover the entire community with the flag of Ghana. If you thought slums were blots in the landscape, have you thought of the dangers it exposes its residents and others to? Several dangerous activities take place in slum areas you can rarely imagine, from prostitution to drug peddling. Distasteful conflicts, sexual abuses and thievery are also common in many slum zones. Perhaps due to its unorganized nature, it affords people the opportunity to undertake all forms of heinous act without being noticed. In Brazil, one typical developing country which is equally battling with slums and its accompanying challenges, the situation is near the West. I witnessed city authorities of Rio de Janeiro also trying to cover up some of its popular slum communities with these structures along the roadside, obviously hiding the ugly scenes the slums present to visitors of the city. However, the country has not been able to hide the heinous crimes that are on a regular basis perpetuated in the slum areas. Ask any Brazilian in Rio de Janeiro that you would want to visit the favelas, meaning the slums, and you are quickly cautioned not to do so, not even with police escort, they often say. According to the people, the slums are full of drug dealers and the most notorious armed robbers who are ready to attack anyone except their own. Recently at this same slum area where I'm trying to capture some scenes with my hidden and professional camera, drug dealers in Rio shot down a state helicopter and captured a state police commissioner.
Guys, Nesse momento, olha, mais uma viatura entrando. Viatura da PM entrando para fazer. Olha ali, Wilson, olha lá uma pessoa.
People, this is the favelas of Rio de Janeiro now. The favelas means the slum areas of Rio de Janeiro. I can tell you that it's a very dangerous zone. I have managed to speak to some people, that's why they've allowed me to stand here. Otherwise, nobody dares go in there. Now, these people possess guns, I'm told. They also deal in drugs, I've also been told. The situation is no different in Mexico. It's almost always hitting the news headlines with reports of attacks between drug dealers and security officers in slum zones of Mexico, which is known by indigents as barrios. To find out whether indeed Mexico's slum areas, also called barrios, are as dangerous as it is often reported in the news, I paid a visit to one of such well-known slum areas in Mexico. My host family, who were extremely nice to me than I expected, lamented some of the challenges in living in the barrios, which included tapping electricity illegally, also a common characteristics in many slum areas, even in Ghana.
She said this is a difficult transport to go to work. It's difficult for the water, this kind of water. This is so much service. This is need more service.
Pues ahorita estamos colgados. No es legal.
This is not legal. The electricity. She say this is not legal. The electricity. This is only put this in Mexico is diablos. It is don't good service the electricity.
As I continued my visit, I was repeatedly warned by residents to avoid certain areas, as I could be robbed and even killed for no apparent reason but by hooligans who engage in drugs. They told me this same spot where I'm being prevented to go, a prostitute had been killed there a few moments before my visit.
He said this is danger people here. This is because you don't can walk
from this area because it's dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous.
However, in order to be sure whether indeed such activities happen in the barrios, I dare to approach these friends whom I've been warned against. If you look behind me is one of the buildings that people describe as the shanty buildings. All over the street I have been warned not to stand here and do this. To the surprise of everyone, I was very much welcomed. But they had a reason for doing so. The warmth reception accorded me was due to the fact that my colleague Malcolm, a radio presenter, and I were perceived to be prospective dealers of Indian hemp. I had been introduced to Danny, whom I eventually nicknamed Danny Capo, and he was already convincing me of the best buys of the most quality weed I can find in Mexico. Danny Capo eventually brought 2 separate leaves, which he said are quality Indian hemp that can be sold for $100 each in the United States.
All right. Anything you need, call me. Tell me what you want.
Yeah, I'll come back and see you.
Yeah, don't worry, I got everything. I'm the man. I got something good for a smoke if you want it. I got woman, I got everything.
You got smoke cigarettes?
I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke weed. You see something good? Let me show you what I have. Let me show you what I have. Just for fun.
I promised to be back next time for further dealings, which I never did. But on my way to the market of the same barrio, I saw the effect of what Danny Capo is dealing in on the lives of people on the streets of Mexico.
Please do.
Absolutely, why not?
Wow,
I
man.
was born in Belize, to Norte South some white people.
Yes, sir. And where you from? You been to America before?
Orange drug, I come from, but my mother, she is Mexican, but my stepfather, he is Belizean.
Oh, man.
And that's why...
You speak good English, man.
I am told this new friend of mine has been an addict of Indian hemp. Danny Capo and other dealers strayed in the barrios. Fortunately, I made out of the barrios untouched, and even my taxi driver, a native of the area, admitted it was unusual. This is how dangerous some slum communities can be when allowed to reach that stage, either as a favela or a barrio, if not checked at the right time. If you thought the case in Brazil and Mexico are extreme cases and cannot happen in Ghana, you may be in for a surprise. Recently, an Accra-based television network captured gory scenes of a clash between the Frafras and the Kusasis in one of the slum zones in Ashaman, where one person was killed.
Here we are in the Adakoji area of Ashmai, where just seems an hour ago a fight has broken out, a tribal fight between the Frafra and the Kusasis.
The reason for the clash is that both tribes are accusing one another for dealing in drugs and engaging in robbery in the community.
There's some bad boys around here selling weed, cocaine, and anytime I thought there's separation, there are some police people who give them information and they run away. So they only come to arrest innocent people. So from henceforth, we want to remove everything for here. Nobody should sell weed, cocaine here. They arrest some people with gun and weed. When they took them to the police station, they leave them and they came back, and that was why the fight started. So we are demolishing everything here. Anybody who sell weed here or sell cocoa here, we will arrest him ourselves and take it to the police.
The police had to step in with harsh attitude to prevent the worst from happening in that community. This is why it is even more dangerous to have this slum area developed at Osu, just behind the Osu Castle, which has been the seat of several governments in Ghana till date. Here the doors and even the windows of most of the offices at the castle can be viewed from any part of this slum area just behind it. Most buildings springing up in this area are doing so unplanned, constructed with mostly wooden materials, or very small cement buildings in the form of kiosks and shanty-style buildings.
If time is not, it will be like, it's going to be like Sodom and Gomorrah. Because people over there were weed smokers, cocaine dealers, and all sorts of.
But the signboard that you see right there says restricted area, keep off. You can see almost all the windows of the castle and some of the doors of the castle right here where I'm standing. But look at this, my back is where we have now developing. A lot of them are developing right. This is the lagoon that we're talking about. It's filled with filth. It's never been dredged.
The sanitation situation around the area is a subject on its own, as beaches are constantly kept unclean by recalcitrant individuals. The only lagoon, also lying here called the Suklote Lagoon, is filled with filth and both human and animal waste scattered everywhere. Social planners analyze that when humans begin to feel dejected by society, they can sometimes rebel in an unpleasant manner. Should such an unexpected happen, the security of our entire country can be at risk, especially when an area like this can house all manner of persons who sometimes can keep arms and engage in dreadful activities without being noted.
4 or 5 months ago, even police, I don't know who gave them the information. Police went there, and those who were there, those hard criminals, even ran away.
The United Nations Department of Peacekeeping, of which Ghana used to be the 7th contributor of personnel, is one of such organizations struggling to maintain peace in countries where crimes have emerged from slums. So I pose that question to Ghana's Defense Minister, Lieutenant General Joseph Henry Smith.
I want to find out from you, especially on the internal threats you mentioned, whether you are concerned with the recent development of slums in Accra. Gradually, we're having communities in Accra where people can't go and nobody can demolish them. Where are we heading? Isn't this a security threat? Besides that, I want to find out, I've seen slums grown up behind the president's house, the castle. I'm worried because you have all manner of people living in such communities.
The slum areas, let me say that all these areas have come to intelligence attention. And when I say that, it means a lot. We are working on them. We've taken note of all these. We are mapping up. New maps are being made. The cities and so on have been sectorized. A lot of work is going on. And I thank you for prompting me. When I get back, I'll make sure that our intelligence people are seriously working on these. All the dangers involved, we are aware, and we're going to make sure that we tackle them.